Rebellions are built on hope.
And welcome to another episode of Radio Rebellion, a Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Alberto, and joining us today as our co-host, our friend, Obi-Wan Kenobi is here. We're joined by our friend, Buck O'Brien. Buck, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us today.
Doing pretty good right now.
yeah. You're stuck in you're a bit sick over there. I'm tired just because it's been a long week. Oti, I don't know how you're doing, Oti. You okay today?
I've had a weird day, but I'm okay. Barca just won 5-0, so I'm happy.
I don't know what that means. No, it's fine.
Uncultured American. Typical.
I know. Football was all that stuff. All right, thanks to everyone who joined us today. If you're new to our channel, thanks for being here. Make sure you subscribe to our show. Give us a like, thumbs up, subscribe, comment down below if you're listening to this later. And of course, if you're listening to the audio podcast when this drops later in the week, give us a rating and review over there wherever you listen to podcasts. But here we are, another week, another Star Wars TV show. And we'll get into that in a minute. Oti, I saw a comment. I think our friend who was here last week is
I'm not going to put it up there yet. But Tony's in the chat. Let's just say
Tony's in the chat. All right. Tony.
I'm saving that comment.
All right. You know what? Let's just go. Let's go ahead and start. So if you guys are ready, I'm not ready.
You said we were going to talk about another thing first.
Right. Dude, can I make my intro?
It has nothing to do with to whatever.
You don't. Okay. If you guys are ready, I'm not ready. Let's do Star Wars. That's our intro, Oti, for the past 3 years. And Star Wars news. And for going out, he's back. So yeah, we're doing Star Wars news today.
Star Wars news.
Alberto, you definitely have a delay because
I know.
you're like you're gone and I was already here. So
I don't know because I checked. They said you had too many things saved, too many videos. I took half of them out. I tried it earlier. It's fine. As soon as I start, like a 2-second delay.
It's fine.
You should just. Do you see the videos? Can you just select the videos under the brand?
No,
you don't want to deal with it.
I don't have access to any of that.
All right.
If you want, I'll show you what. Yeah, I don't have access to anything.
All right. One day I'll give you full control of the show, and then you can. I don't know if I want to give you that power. Anyway, let's talk about Lando. Finally, we'll talk about some news. So Lando movie. The Lando series, is it now a movie? Is it a TV show? We don't know. So during an appearance on the Pablo Torres Finds Out podcast, I guess, Lando writer Steven Glover revealed that the long in-development series might turn out to be a movie after all. I'm quoting here from Star Wars News Net what Steven Glover said. Oh yeah, I can pretty much be like, yeah, we're it's not even a show. The idea right now is to do a movie. But like that's the thing right now because of the strike, everything is kind of a telephone game. All the information is coming out. So it's kind of weird. Like he just said, the strike is going. We don't know where these deals or conversations are happening. Is it really a movie? He just talking because he wants to say something. Oti, when you saw this news, anything came out of it? And then again, as we go in, do you see this more as a movie instead of a TV show?
The only thing I could think about was Kathleen Kennedy in Celebration being interviewed. I mean, like, what about all these projects that were happening and didn't happen? And she's like, when did we announce those? So that's where I'm going. Like, yeah, Donald Glover's brother says this. Good for him. I don't know what's going to happen. Nothing can happen right now. So,
yeah.
It's one of those. I have a pitch for them.
All right, let's hear it.
Not a show. Not a movie. A Childish Gambino concept album about Lando Calrissian.
That would be awesome.
Just throw it out there. Let's do like the Lemonade thing. We have like a very like elaborate music video, but it's an album.
Buck, were you a fan of? I know you love Solo. You're a huge fan of the Solo movie. Were you interested? My interest is not the right way. I mean, were you excited when this Lando show was announced? Then we heard that the Glover brothers were going to be working on it, and now with
Kind of.
this, let's say,
I
news that it might be a movie, where do you land?
I will say I'm probably in the minority where I think that the Lando was probably my least favorite part of Solo.
Yeah.
I just didn't
I
feel that
agree.
he was Solo. He was just being himself, which is fine, whatever. All right, Lando, sorry. I said it, I'm sick. But I was excited for more. I'm always excited for more Star Wars stories. And whether that's they realize that like a TV show is probably too much, a movie is probably better. If it's a movie, I still think it'll end up just being streamed on Disney Plus. And not
That's
on
what I
theater.
was gonna ask. Can this be a straight to video, straight to streaming movie? Kind of the first Star Wars foray on that.
I think that might be what will happen.
Honestly, if they were gonna like try this, like jump in those waters, I think Lando would be the perfect character to
Yeah.
do this, because I agree with Buck. It's not that I didn't like him as Lando. I just thought he was just like doing an imitation, which fine, I guess. But people love that performance, so I think it would be like perfect, original trilogy character, beloved actor. I think it could work.
Yeah, I mean, Lando is has always kind of been sadly second tier anyway.
Mhm.
Whether he's top tier in our hearts,
I wonder why.
Yeah, yes. Sadly, it's the way it is, and I know that like when they first started writing Star Wars novels, like the fact that they had Han Solo and then the Lando Calrissian Chronicles being like the next thing was kind of surprising in my mind because it wasn't the character you were expecting them to go with for stories, even back in the early 80s. So you're like, this is interesting. But so like to do a foray into another movie as opposed to a TV series, possibly debuting on Disney Plus, Lando's a good choice. Everyone, I think people love him enough to check him out, but probably not enough to go to the theater. Sadly.
Yeah, I've always, even before Solo, I've liked the Lando Calrissian character. I never wasn't the biggest fan because, yeah, he was in 2 movies, so he wasn't kind of the main draw. He had a lot to do in Return of the Jedi. Love Donald Glover's performance in Solo, but that's not why I went to watch the movie and not what I came out kind of cheering. Oh, I need more Lando stories. So even when this was announced years ago, I was like you said, Bucky, okay, it's more Star Wars, so I'll watch it, of course. But I wasn't like, yay, here we go. This is what I've been waiting for. Going now to a movie is kind of interesting if, let's say, this is where it goes. Like Oti mentioned in Celebration, they announced 3 movies. We've heard for a while that they're going to take their time between movies. I know with all the strikes, there have been some shuffling, but that's just to move things around. So is this movie coming out in 4 years, 6 years, 7 years when no one cares about it? Will it bump one of those 3 that was announced? I doubt it. So that's where I started thinking, like you said, but maybe goes straight to Disney Plus, which has worked for them in the past with some of the Pixar movies, like Turning Red, for example. That didn't go to the theaters, and everyone loved that movie. It was playing on my house on loop, and a lot of other movies have been like that. So it wouldn't surprise me. I know some extreme fans out there will, oh, look what Star Wars is doing now, straight to video, but whatever, we don't care about that. But also, like Oti mentioned, we have no idea.
Right.
Sorry?
Star Wars has never been limited by medium. Like,
oh no,
we had the Ewoks movies, the cartoons in the 80s.
Right.
Like Star Wars has always been able to fit in any medium it needed to.
Yeah. So maybe it was that they didn't have a story for 8 shows or 8 episodes, so they decided maybe it's better as a TV show. I mean, a movie. But again, this is just kind of speculation, just people talking right now where no deals can be made or anything. So hopefully when the strike is over, hopefully that happens soon, then we can learn a little bit more about it.
Can I just say, like, for me, it's very weird to see how everyone just ran with "we're getting a Lando movie" when his comments were basically like, "We're seeing, maybe, perhaps that's what our intention." And also, from what we know, the change of writers and creatives in that story changed like very recently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably that problem that then went like, "Hey, Kathy, can we do a movie?" And she's like, "Okay, write something and
Yeah,
we'll
just
see."
bring me the story and we'll see.
And now we're on a strike, so they can't write anything. So for me, it's like very weird that everyone just like ran with it, like Lando movie. Like,
Dude,
we'll
it was
see.
everywhere.
Not speculating responsibly.
No, they didn't follow out the shirt. I saw that first report coming, and then everyone just kept going at it, and then like trades. Oh, we heard from this and that. Oh yeah, it's happening. It was on Variety or whatever. And I just repeating the same thing. Like nothing new can happen right now. So
Yeah.
All right, and we go now to our main topic, Oti. We
The whole
move
reason
on.
we're here.
There we go. What's that? I don't know.
Ahsoka Tano!
Yes.
All right, Star Wars on TV.
Ahsoka Tano! Oh my God.
Be a very 80s theme song.
Once a Jedi, now on the run.
Look, I don't know why
Annie and Obi, Rex and Cody.
you know how bad the lag is right now on my side. I didn't even get the intro. It went straight to Star Wars on TV, and then you guys were talking. What the hell? Anyway,
I'm having no problems. I think the only thing I'm getting is a little bit of lag for Odie. So
yeah, he's always behind.
Yeah, but I think it's your fault because
It's my fault. StreamYard doesn't work that way. You have your own connection.
I don't know what happens, but like if I run like a speed test, it's like, oh yeah, you have 600 steady gigabytes. So I don't know what's happening. Whatever.
Me neither. All right, Oti, before we start, who's out there in the
We
chat?
have Mo. We have Roberto Venegas.
Ooh, Roberto.
Here's Tony talking about the Lando thing. In the same way that the MCU tried the special presentation thing with Werewolf by Night. Could be interesting for Star Wars. Yeah, I think it could
I
be.
think Werewolf by Night was pretty successful, right?
Yeah, it was pretty dope, and they're doing like the re-release in color.
Yeah.
Which I was like, this is stupid, and then I saw like the frames, and I'm like, oh, this is cool.
I'm always interested to see. You know, I think I'll prefer the black and white, but it'd be fun to see.
But the color scheme looks awesome, so
Okay.
I'm excited for it. Roberto is hyped for the Lando movie. I can't wait for a theater. Okay, it's like,
Speaking of theater, we're talking
Brennan.
now. Oh, Brennan, how you doing,
Brennan is in the chat. Dale is in the chat. He forgot to. He's always the first one to say something, and he forgot.
Right.
I forgive you, Dale.
All right. So speaking about going to the theaters, Buck, not only are you probably one of the biggest Ahsoka fans in terms of the characters that I know,
Right.
but you got a chance to go to the theater and watch Episode 5. How was that experience?
It was pretty surreal. We went to, my husband and I were able to get tickets for the screening in Seattle. It was like 25 minutes outside of Seattle, but okay, whatever. And it was, the line was already, he got there before me because he works in Seattle. And the line was already pretty packed. They had to turn people away.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was nice because we got free posters. They had these fun little QR codes to scan for Snapchat. Like it does the Ahsoka filter, so you can have her Montrells and Lake Q.
Oh.
And we got free popcorn and soda, which was nice, and it was streamed on a IMAX screen. So
wow.
It was nice. Like it's just really big. Like I wasn't expecting to see it like that ever, and the fact that we did get that experience was a wonderful blessing. To see Star Wars, I think, is best viewed the first time communally. That's why I love the fact they moved the show to 6:00 Pacific on Tuesday night, 9:00 Eastern. Like that's awesome for Americans at least. Like that communal experience is great. Being able to hear like everyone just kind of go, like just get quiet as people are speaking. Anakin's on screen, laughing at Carson Teva's, okay. And then Rex got the biggest response when Rex When he finally spoke, the whole theater erupted in cheers and applause.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, Rex is loved.
I'll say that's one of the things that I miss when I go to a theaters here. I go probably to the first screening that they have, not on Thursday midnight, like Friday at 10 in the morning, just because it's easier for me to go to that one. So it's not that packed, and people are quiet. No one's cheering, no one's yelling. So all these Star Wars movies I've seen here is just being quiet. And then I go online and everyone's talking about this great experience that they had, and I do miss that. So I'm glad you had a chance.
Yeah.
Okay, did they show this in Puerto Rico?
No, they didn't. No.
I know it wasn't here either.
I actually checked like in my girlfriend's area and no theaters. Like
No.
Well, here's the thing that I realize when you're doing these GoFobo things, you kind of at any of these online drops, you kind of have to game the system a little bit. Because if I use my personal zip code, nothing will show up because I don't live in Seattle anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You have to choose the city that's like the largest city that's like close to you, where you think there would be, and like know the zip code there or a zip code there, and then it will pop up. And so that's what I did. I used my old Seattle zip code. It's like I lived in Seattle a couple years ago, and I was like, oh, I'll just use my old zip code. And then finally, the theater popped up, and I was like, okay. And so of course you have to drive. It was like an hour and a half away.
Yeah. And like you said, and I saw a lot of people posting that, oh, I have a ticket, but it's too full, and I got turned away. So I don't want to drive an hour to just say, sorry, you're 10 minutes late. Everything's full now.
I think
I should have been an hour early.
I think Tony got there like 2 hours early.
I think he should.
I think he texted me like at 6, like, oh, I'm already here. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
I think my husband showed up in the area about 2 hours early. He had an interview call, and he still was like stood in line pretty early, and he wasn't even near the front. Like,
oh wow,
I was like, holy crap! Yeah, you have to show up to these things kind of early. I think the only reason we got as good a seats as we did was because he was there before me.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get into it. And Oti, I'm gonna start, I guess, to everyone. I don't want to say I was hard on it, but we had a little fun talking about DH Hayden last week. That he didn't look the best. I'll eat my words, because episode 5 he was perfect. There were times that I don't know what is this. It just went back in time. They just erased wrinkles. What's going on? The alien was great.
I literally saw him and went like, "Are you an angel?"
Right, that's what I thought. He looked very angelic at the end of last episode, and I think part of it is the way the lighting works in the World Between Worlds. He has that underlighting; it's very like one solid color. It's like a ring light, so of course it smooths out the wrinkles. I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, I was saying that he reminded me of the vampires from Twilight. All kind of too perfect, too shiny, but not last week. This week he was perfect.
Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned it here, but like last episode I saw it on my parents' TV, which is terrible, and it didn't look that bad to me. But this week I saw it here, so I had like the awesome TV, and it looked awesome.
All right, so as we go through this, we can talk about the World Between Worlds. And last week, Oti, we spent a lot of time talking about, is it the World Between Worlds? Is it going to be a Force cave, kind of dark side vision? Is it Anakin's Force Ghost? Is it all three? Was it something completely different? I'm still not 100% sure. And I don't mind, because I loved it.
So the answer to the question, if it's the World Between Worlds, it's like the kind of answer I love. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you want it to be the World Between Worlds, it is. Yeah. Like, but maybe I'm getting ahead of myself like I usually do, but I've seen like, I don't know what I was going to say. Whatever. Yeah, no, I don't know if it was a World Between Worlds. I choose to believe it wasn't.
Okay.
I also agree that I don't entirely think that it was the World Between Worlds.
Maybe it was a World Between Worlds.
Right. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, just they talk about the World Between Worlds being kind of like the force between the worlds in Narnia, right? So it's kind of a pathway to reach other realms, and so it could look different depending on who's in it. But I think the wonderful thing about all these things is like, it's what we need it to be. It's I was talking on Nerd Academy on Tuesday night afterwards, and we all had a different viewing of this. We all had a different takeaway from this whole episode, and I kind of think that's when Star Wars is at its best, because it's like they weren't in conflict with each other. We just took a different lesson away from it that I think was important to each of us, and I think that's what this episode is about, right? Like what is it Anakin is saying to Ahsoka? What is the Force saying to Ahsoka? What is it that she needs to learn? And there's a lot there. So whether it happened in the world between worlds, or it was all inside her head, or it was a Force vision, it doesn't matter. Like, none of that matters, because she still walked away from it changed, and that was what's important.
For me, that's one of the reasons why Star Wars has lasted so long, is that we all love the Force and Luke's journey and all that, but it might be for something different. Same with Anakin and Rey and everything. And we can have 3 different interpretations that the ending is going to be the same, but how we get there is going to be different. That's what keeps this franchise energetic and different, keeps everyone talking. And I saw a few takes of people saying, oh, we don't know what happened, so that means that Filoni doesn't know, or whatever. You got to be very specific. No, that's Star Wars has always been like this. And even though I said last week, oh, I think this Anakin is just this dark side vision or dark side moment for Ahsoka, and there were moments that it looked like that, but there were also moments that just went to this flashback, and this is totally different from what we've seen before. And then that confrontation they had in the War Between Worlds, and that can be War Between Worlds, or that can be just her mind going where she needed to be. So it's all these things all at once, and we all take different meaning from it. And we can go right there, Buck, like you mentioned. There's a lot of... Go ahead.
I want to say, George has always kind of wanted Star Wars to be that way. Like, we go back to Luke or Mark Hamill talking like about his performance when he finds out Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen are dead. He wanted it to perform it a certain way, and George was like, "No, bring it back." And the reason George wanted that was so that way the audience member can impart themselves onto Luke in those moments. And it's the same thing. Like, Star Wars is meant for us to impart ourselves into the main characters in moments like this. So whether it be Anakin or Luke or Ahsoka or Rey, we get to try to put ourselves in their shoes in the moment and impart our own experiences onto it and learn the lessons that we're supposed to learn along with them.
It's, before you put that comment, Oti, and just very similar to what you said, Buck, it's when I watched that finale for Mando Season 2, I broke down crying, which a lot of people did because they saw Luke. To me, as a father, as Mando was, giving your son away, basically. And that was my position. And I just bawled all day. Because like you said, we just put ourselves on our experiences right there.
It was very much Brian Barry's experience, a dad who's adopted 3 kids. And like, that really hits him hard because he's like, I couldn't imagine giving away my kids. No matter. We all bring our experiences to this. It's very much the Luke on Dagobah, and only what we take with us into the cave. The reason we don't need our weapons is because it's what we bring with us is what we take out of it's what we'll encounter.
All right, Oti, you had a comment there.
I love Mo's comments. In my very professional opinion, it was not the World Between Worlds, but it was cool anyway. And
exactly,
it was cool.
At the end of the day, is it cool? And we are gonna be fine with it.
Roberto has a fun take. Like the High Republic see the Force different. World Between Worlds is how Ahsoka views the Force, maybe.
Yeah,
very interesting take.
So let's talk about that. Her journey through, let's just say, World Between Worlds, because it's easier just to talk like that right now. And Oti, last week I kind of mentioned, I think they're going to fight. You didn't want it. They do have a weird fight right there at the beginning. Just choose to live or die, and had their little talk.
I was like the king of I don't want them to fight, and the minute those lightsabers went, I was like,
yeah.
That was cool. That fight was very cool. Like,
it is a really good to see Hayden just still be a powerhouse after all this time. Like,
he just nailed it.
How powerful Anakin is. Like, I forget sometimes.
I have forgotten how much of a powerhouse Anakin is with a lightsaber, and how much of a. There's a moment where Ahsoka's like, nobody realized how dangerous you were because you were so powerful. And
we're gonna get to that comment in a minute.
Yeah, it was
that fight, I love, like you said, that powerful Anakin that we've kind of forgot. Because last time it's kind of Vader, and it's a little bit different seeing him in the suit because we kind of expect him to be that powerful. We're just seeing, again, I guess, on crisp Vader going full at it, and Anakin. And I love now, we saw it with Baylan, and now we see it with Anakin, when they clash those sabers and then do that extra push. Just a very cool visual. Yeah. But of course, it just leads to when he crossed the floor, and now we go to one of the first missions on on Teth. I saw people saying I can't remember all the missions they went in this flashback. Young Ahsoka, very surprised that we went as young with Ahsoka, but it was one of my favorites. For me, all the journey that she went through, I really liked those two flashbacks with younger Ahsoka in that first mission and then on Siege of Mandalore. Because that conversation that they had, why she was there, choose to live, choose to die. And when she's talking about, well, why am I here? All we're doing is fighting. All these clones died because I was leading them. And he's like, well, there's a different time now. When Obi-Wan trained me, we were guardians of peace. Now we have to be soldiers. I need to teach you to survive. And I love that scene, and we'll keep going afterwards, but get you guys' take on that first flashback when kind of the dust has settled and she goes to this clone trooper and puts her hand on him. Then he's comforting her at the same time. And I think that helps for what I think was her final lesson at the end. I'll repeat this later, but I just love that little scene that you're comforting me, but I think I also need to comfort you because you're a freaking 14 years old thrown in this war. It's not your fault. But Buck, for you going and seeing again, you have the Ahsoka shirt on, seeing young Ahsoka in live action, played wonderfully. I forgot the actress name, but she's done a lot.
Ariana Greenblatt.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts in this first young Ahsoka?
I really did take me a moment to like realize, wait, no, that is young Snips. I'm like, because it's through the fog, and you're like, I'm not entirely sure.
I had the same reaction. I was like, wait, is she younger? Is that the lightsaber?
And then you realize, like, everything's smaller. Oh, that's the season 3 costume. Like, holy crap! Like, and yes, Teth. At first I was like, is it Teth? Yeah. I watching it again today, I was like, okay, that first part seems like it's definitely Teth. The second part seems like it's definitely meant to be Ryloth. Like we're sort of trying to go through some of the battles. But seeing her in the flesh, more or less, is unbelievable. We've been on this journey with her for 15 years, and to see her in the flesh after 15 years is like, what the hell? This is crazy. I know lots of people have grown up with her. I was a full-grown adult when she premiered, but I was still like, in many ways, still grew up with her, like as a person, as an adult. Like, this is crazy. The emotionalness, I'm like, you could see like everyone just being like little gasps in the theater, and like, holy crap, that's her. Seeing the lightsabers, her lightsabers for real, is wonderful. But her questioning, like, why are we here? And she even asks, like, what's the lesson? And Anakin says again, live or die. And I think this really is an unlearn what you have learned lesson, because it is reinforcing. He keeps telling her that you're going to have to fight in order to survive. And I think him reinforcing this lesson over and over is actually so she unlearns that lesson, because I think by the end she realizes, no, you've taught me to be a warrior, to keep fighting, and that's not how you win. That's why the Jedi lost. Like, we fought when we should not have fought. And that's why we lost. It's the lesson. He even says earlier in the episode, she's like, I will not fight you. And he's like, I've heard that before. Luke said that straight to him, like, just a few years ago. So, like, of course, he's like, he's heard it before. And that was kind of the lesson, like this kind of cueing the audience in. Yes, we've all heard that before in episode 6. So what was the lesson that Luke actually learned? Oh, I can't fight you. Like, really, I'm going to throw the lightsaber to the side, and that's how I win. And that's how she wins in the end, and we get to that. But, I do think the Force is definitely taking her through an unlearn what you have learned lesson.
Yeah. Oti, this is the Clone Wars. It's our one of our first missions. Like you just mentioned, a little bit surprising. You have Snips there.
I love how much I hated that line, because it's like, just so you know, by the way, what was the question, Alberto? Sorry.
Just when you saw Ahsoka in the fog, and then I want to give your take on that scene, because most of the things I've seen have been very positive toward this episode, and then a lot of people complaining about it was too murky, too foggy. We really couldn't see.
I'll complain.
The fog of war. You're not supposed to. It's the fog of war.
I'll complain about it. Listen, I love those scenes. I thought they were good. I do take issue with Filoni's writing and directing here. I think almost, not completely, almost lost the message of the episode in recreating the Clone Wars and being like, "Oh, this is cool." Remember? I
It's
think
not the lesson.
what was that?
So that's not the lesson.
No. No. But like, look at Anakin at the suit. Look at young Snips. Like, look at Rex. Like, I think the episode was a little bit too focused on that angle. On look how we're recreating this. But I still liked it a lot. It got me like, and I'm not like the biggest Clone Wars fan because I got into the Clone Wars like the sequel trilogy was already coming out. Like it was between Force Awakens and Last Jedi, so I don't have like a nostalgia connection to it. But it was still like very awesome to see Anakin as his Clone Wars self, and also seeing like Hayden Christensen channel what Matt Lantern did, because the Anakin of the Clone Wars is not the Anakin of the movies. He's in like a very different stage in his life, which I did love because I saw elements of both interpretations.
100%, yes.
The fog kind of rubbed me. It didn't rub me the wrong way, but like I'm sure a lot of people watched the episode and didn't really think about it. All I could think about was like budget limitations, like, yeah, we can't recreate Mandalore, so we'll just like fuck this up. Fog, by the way, not the other word. We can't recreate Ryloth, so fog. And at the first couple of frames when it was used, it was very effective. Like seeing like it showed like sometimes the Clone Wars are like, I think kind of ignored because it's like clones versus robots, but like I think it did a good job like setting us there and being like, no, this was horrible. And as it kept going on, I think it lost its impact. So, but overall, I did like everything that was going on.
Yeah, I understand why some people might say, and I not might, because I read it from different reviewers and just people on internet, that yes, it was a very good episode. Filoni did a very good job writing, but his directing still needs a little bit of help, of work, because some of the shots might not be the most engaging. But at the same time, I don't care. I watched it 3 times. I had a lot of fun with it. And I love all those flashback scenes, even if it's all this clay fog out there covering everything. It didn't matter. To me, the conversation that they had kind of put that to the side. I didn't need to worry too much about it. And to that point go ahead.
I definitely felt like he was moving the camera the way he would have if he were directing a Clone Wars episode. And so in that way, it felt comfortable and right in my mind when we're doing those flashbacks, because they were definitely like push in shots that were definitely out of the Clone Wars establishing shots, and I was like, that's awesome.
The scene, going to what Oti mentioned, that Hayden pulled out Matt Lantern, was in that first flashback when Ahsoka's like, oh, is this what I'm going to teach my Padawan? And he's like, do you want a Padawan? Teaching is not that is meant to, it's not fun. Oh, what are you doing? I'm joking. Really? Yes, I'm joking. That felt like Clone Wars Anakin, and felt
especially
like
season 1, season 2 Anakin.
And it's something that we do in real life. When we're in that stressful situation and you're with someone that's already stressed, you need to level things up, keep it lively. And I think that's what he was doing. And as someone has done that a lot of times, just coaching a bunch of 10 to 13 years olds to play basketball. You got to calm them down when you're losing, although we won. But that's kind of what you need to do. You can't just go down to just, all right, we're screwed. No, you got to keep things up. And I think that's what he was doing to kind of help with this lesson that it's war, but there's other things that you need to learn that will keep going. But then, Buck, we go few years into the future, I guess, but still in the past with the Siege of Mandalore. I love Anakin coming in. I don't remember this battle. So that scene, a little bit older Ahsoka. We know what's happening now. Anakin is about to turn into Darth Vader. Ahsoka is going to go fight Maul in a couple of minutes. There was another powerful scene, especially when they just go down to the conversation about what their legacy is going to be, because Anakin is everything my master taught me is in me, and everything that his master taught him was in him, and now I'm passing everything to you and you'll pass it on. I think that's the lesson for her. It's like you said, Oti, when before that, when she starts saying, yeah, well, it's legacy, I mean, it's war, death and war, she's like, you're more than that because I'm more than that. And that's when she go, oh yeah, more powerful, more whatever. It's like, no, we're more than this war that's happening
I
around
think
us. There's
part of
more
that,
in me than just Darth Vader. But that scene for you, Buck.
as a part of that, I think is I think lends the idea that this might not be the world between worlds, because the legacy of death and destruction is the line that Balin says to her
Yeah.
right before
Yeah.
throwing her off the cliff.
Mhm.
But the saying that, he's like, you're more than that because I'm more than that. And Anakin is more than that. Like, yes, he was a hero, and yes, there was 25 odd years of him being the worst human being possible. But we are more than our lowest points, and then we are more than our best points. Like, we are the sum total of all that. And he's saying that within me is everything I am, all the knowledge I possess. You are, you're part of that legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets scared. So, but you were more powerful and dangerous than anyone realized. And this is the moment that I think everyone misses the reading of this line. Is that what this is about? Because he kind of delivers it like, are we arguing about that? Like, we've moved, like, I've moved past that. You should move past that. But part of it is there's a meta-ness of this where, like, earlier she's like, when they're on what I think is the 10th part, she's like, she's like, I don't understand. He goes, that's your problem. This is your training. And this is, again, that unlearn what you have learned bit, where he goes, is that what this is about? This whole experience that Ahsoka is experiencing isn't about Anakin or what Anakin's legacy is. It's about her own legacy. So it's like, is that what this is about? Is not a line read on, like, or why are we arguing about this? Is like, you're missing the point again about why we're here and experiencing these memories and having this conversation. It's not about me, it's about you. And you're making it about me again. Like, this isn't about me. Like, is that what this is about? No, this is about you. Let's get through your shit, because I've already dealt with mine.
Let's go again.
I think that line works both ways, because that's a very Anakin thing to say. Like, oh, we're just gonna focus on the 25 years of horror I brought. Like,
so Anakin.
But I like that take, Buck, because it's like we all thought that we had to see Ahsoka reckon with Darth Vader, and we really didn't, because that's done and dusted. Like, Darth Vader's redemption is his own. Like, it shouldn't really affect anyone else. Like, and we know it does have ramifications, but that's like not something Ahsoka should be like reckoning with not even at this point. So I do like him being like, no, you still have things to learn. Like, your training is not done. This is not about this.
Right.
Yeah, I saw that.
There is a bit of a meta commentary too about, like, the fact that is how Balin handles her and views her, right? Like, you still need to deal with the fact that you failed your master, which he kind of, like, leans into some of those doubts and fears that I think Ahsoka has been experiencing, and the fact that, like, I think a lot of the fandom and the audience still views her in those ways as well, and we're like, it's been 15 years since we introduced Ahsoka. Let's move on, guys.
Yeah, I saw it, especially that line, which was one of my favorite lines of the whole episode, that you're more than that because I'm more than that. That she still, like, when she talks about having a Padawan, and we know she didn't want to train Grogu, she didn't want to train Sabine, because she feels that everything that is Anakin is in her now. She just might teach everyone the same thing about death, war, and what if we go down the wrong path? And he's like, why are we still on this? And that's what I mentioned, that clone trooper holding her hand, kind of showing you're more than this war that's going around us. We painted our helmets because we trust you with our lives, not because we want to go to war. It's because you're more than that. And that's my interpretation of what Anakin is trying to get to is, I'm more than that, and all this war and all those 25 years of evilness that I went through, and we're more than that. You're more than that. Forget about me. You gotta live your life, but unfortunately, you gotta go back and do the whole dark side cave. If you kill me, then you'll become me. And that's when she's kind of goes, I'll choose life. First with the little Sith eyes, just for us to have that little bit of, is she going to turn? Which we know she won't, but great visuals, at least, when they went back into the world between world and have their little last kind of lightsaber fight.
The Rainbow Road.
What did you guys think of the title Shadow Warrior?
I'm still reckoning with that.
Okay. I know it's funny because they used Shadow Warrior in the Clone Wars, and it's an homage to a Japanese movie that George helped produce and all that. But I thought it was interesting because my husband brought this up to me, and I'd heard of this, but I'd never really thought of it, never really looked into it. So I did a little bit of research this week. Is shadow work, which is a Jungian kind of therapy thing that people do where they kind of confront the parts of their childhood that they don't really normally pay attention to.
Okay.
And that's exactly what Ahsoka does in this episode. So I think it's really funny. Like, she's doing shadow work in the episode, and the episode is titled Shadow Warrior. Whether that was intentional or not, I think it was a really interesting thing. You know, like those parts of herself, those childhood things that she hadn't. I doubt she's done any therapy in the 25, 30 years since the Clone Wars.
No, this is Star Wars. There's no budget for therapy. We know that.
There's no time for that, right?
No, we gotta go to fight.
Considering she walked away on Sabine, no, I don't think so.
Right. Yeah. So she hasn't confronted any of these things, and here's that moment where she gets to do the shadow work for real, and walk out of it like Ahsoka the White. Like, she does the work and she confronts her doubts and her fears. And shadow work isn't about like necessarily about healing those moments so much as it is about acknowledging them and being understanding that like they have an impact on you. Like, you may not be able to heal it, but you can acknowledge it, look at it in the eye and be like, oh yeah, you are like exactly what Yoda does in the season 6 of the Clone Wars episode Destiny, where he literally fights his shadow self, and it's his hubris, right?
Yeah.
Which we all can say, like, he literally has hubris and pride, and that's part of the reason Jedi fall. Yoda has to fight it in order to learn how to become one with the cosmic force. Now Ahsoka's being able to do these same things in this world between worlds with Anakin. I definitely think that she'll continue to be above, whether she'll definitely be one of those people that becomes one with the cosmic force, who will retain her consciousness after death. Like, there's no way that won't happen. How long it will be until she dies is another story.
If there's Star Wars to be told, she'll probably be there.
Yeah. When it comes to Ahsoka, I just hope her death is similar to Luke's, where it's like her choice to like go. By the way, Dale says that she spoke with Abendo and she spoke with Yoda. That's therapy. Although Yoda, I mean, I know he wasn't in that state, but let's remember that he was like telling Anakin, like, no, don't grieve your mother. Rejoice, she's dead now. Like,
I think Yoda needs therapy also. He's not the best one to
he does, and I think he agrees with you. He does.
What else are people saying in the chat before we move on?
They also said you can't save your master, just like I can't save mine, but Anakin teaches her she can save herself in this. I want to go back to that. Let's see. Okay, so Mo's saying that she already dealt with it in the downfall in Rebels, so she's got that wasn't rehashed. So yeah. Tony's saying Huyang therapy session. I kind of feel he's terrible at therapy. Like,
Huyang does it. I heard you train.
You're right.
You train me. No, leave me alone.
You're right, Ahsoka. You are a terrible person.
I told you not to separate. And you guys went on.
Going to Dale's comment, by the way, I do like the Anakin teaches her that she can save herself in this. I kind of love that thing that she might be afraid that she's condemned to follow Anakin's path, and that's like a very real world thing. Like, I think we idolize our teachers, and as we grow older, we're like, these were like very flawed individuals. Like, they weren't necessarily perfect as we kind of thought. So I think like even her thinking like he was raised as a keeper of the peace and he fell to the dark side. I was raised as a warrior. Like, what's stopping me from falling? And I kind of love. What's that?
She's always like, she says like, that's pretty much all I was trained to be was a warrior. So like, of course I'm gonna fall.
So just like Luke, I kind of feel like Star Wars is reiterating something I've always said. Like, Star Wars deals a lot with destiny, but it all boils down to choices. And if you fall to the dark side, that's your choice. If Ahsoka falls to the dark side, it's not because Anakin did so she had to follow on that path. Striking down Anakin and falling to the dark side is a choice, and it's completely hers to make. You just have to make that leap and choose not to do that. So I do like that the episode goes back to that philosophy of Star Wars.
Throwing away the lightsaber because that's the right choice. When
I kind of hate like Star Wars keeps going back to that because it keeps like making that moment bigger in my heart, because that for me is like the ultimate Star Wars moment when Luke just throws the saber. So
just waiting for someone to do put Grievous into the War Between Worlds, looking for those 3 lightsabers I just fell down there.
A fine addition to my collection.
Well, even though like Anakin like disarms her, I love that like whenever Ahsoka goes against a person with a red blade and she doesn't have a lightsaber, she still like takes it out of her hand or like turns off the saber. It's not a good moment when Ahsoka is bladeless.
It's better to give her a lightsaber. So while all this is going on, we have Hera's there. That scene that you mentioned last week, Oti, that she's walking through those morning with her gun.
Point the gun at Huyang.
Yeah, Huyang. Right. Not saying a word. Well, 2 starships just landed. He just hiding behind the column.
He was sad, man.
He was so sad in that moment.
He was very sad because I didn't listen to him.
That broke my heart. That broke my heart.
One thing that didn't break my heart, and was a moment, was pulled straight from Rebels. You could replace Jacen for Ezra, is when Hera hears Huyang, and Jacen just goes and hides behind Chopper, and he fits perfectly. And then the little head pop. You could see Ezra doing that in season 2 of Rebels or something. It worked great. I love that little scene. Oti, we said long time ago, well, I don't think Jason's gonna have a lot to do in this series. He's just there to be there. It was very important.
I
loved it. I'll leave my words also with Jacen. So, Buck, for you, that scene of Jacen showing his abilities, like Huyang said, just listening to the waves, listening to the lightsaber, and then bringing Hera into it.
Roberto has to go, by the way. Bye, Roberto.
Thanks for being here, Roberto. Talk to you later.
I am loving the expansion of the Force and how even just kind of everyday people can sometimes commune with it. It may not be strong. She may not have actually heard the lightsabers and the waves that Jacen did, but Hera taking that moment to like stand there with her son and try to connect with the Force meant everything to me, because like whether or not she felt it in the way that a Jedi or Jacen feels it, she still takes the time to connect. And I think that is such a good message, just to see like these people that we love and respect as characters take that moment, whether or not they're strong in the Force or not. And you know, it's the same lesson with Sabine, right? Like, and still take that time to try to connect with it anyway, and trusting that like, hey, the Force is communicating with somebody that just happens to be Jacen in this moment, and it is clearly trying to communicate to us how we can help save our friend, and them going and doing that, whether it eats up their fuel reserves or not, like they would still go out to try and search for their friend, because there's still that chance, there's still that hope that Ahsoka is alive, or one of them is alive. They're not entirely sure in that moment, but in that moment it's Ahsoka. And I loved that, like just seeing her stand there and meditate with Jacen for a moment was wonderful.
Yeah, I was getting annoyed at Carson. It's like, Carson Teva, hold on there. Listen to lightsabers. Shut up. I don't care if we're running out of fuel.
Fuck
or
the New Republic.
We got to find a way to stall them.
I don't care if you can't hear things happening in another dimension.
Organa is calling. No, the Force theme is playing. So I need to listen to that, Carson Teva.
Did
you enjoy this?
I love that Leia name drop. Like,
yes,
she being the one, like, fine, I'll cover for you guys. Like, makes sense.
But I love that, like, she's still doing what she can to help Ezra after all this time.
Yeah, she owes him. So
yeah. So then, Oti, we go through all this kind of flying over the water, trying to find Ahsoka, Carson, Teva. Like Buck mentioned, hey, we're running out of fuel. The New Republic is going to start asking questions. What are we doing? This is our fourth time that we've done this pass. What's happening here?
By the way, I'm still loving Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Hera. That I love that line that Hera, we're running out of fuel, and she's like, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, so Hera.
Yeah.
Some great
She was
scenes.
the one casting that I was like not like 100% about because I love Hera and the Ghost is my ship. Like I love it. And
So you wanted to be cast as Hera?
yeah, I did. But like the fact that like she's nailed it like time and time again. Like oh man, we're blessed.
Awesome.
That family is like we got Dennis Lawson and Ewan McGregor and now her and Ewan's daughter, like that whole family.
That scene was cool, I guess.
And we finally, I guess I can shut up about it now. They mentioned Kanan by name.
They're not afraid of mentioning Kanan anymore.
They're not afraid of the name. Kanan Jarrus was a Jedi. His father. Okay, sorry, I'll shut up now.
He has a picture of him in the cockpit.
Yes.
Which I saw this time. I saw it. It was there.
Oh, I didn't see it.
So on my third viewing, I finally saw it.
A couple shots of it you can see.
I've only seen the episode like the one time.
Were you, I don't want to say surprised, but yeah, we talked, how is she going to get out of this war between worlds? We have all our theories. She cannot comes out of the water and they find her, take her back to the ship. And of course, we got the line, Jacen has abilities and all that.
Is there a question there?
I don't know, just your thoughts on it. Okay, forget about it. I got something new, unless you want to talk about it.
Was Ahsoka in another dimension? Was she always in the water? I don't know.
We don't know. We have no idea.
Not
so what I love, because we all knew Ahsoka the White was going to show up at some point. It seemed like the way it was going to happen. I love that it was a slow reveal into Ahsoka the White. It's not like she came out of the water all dressed in white. It's like first she turned to Ahsoka the White because her clothes was wet, basically. She first has that white shawl. Then we see the white arm brace, and then when she steps out into the ship to talk to the Purgles, that I know I'm skipping a little bit, that's when she has the full Ahsoka the White. Did you like this transition, Oti, from Ahsoka the Grey to slowly into Ahsoka the White that we've all been waiting for years now?
So I was talking to Tony, and I changed my mind on this. I was like, I'm not sure that's like 100% Ahsoka the White because it had like tones of gray. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I'm convinced it's Ahsoka the White. I didn't mind if she came out of it like with the staff, and I kind of wanted that. Like it's like mystical and whatever, but we saw her without the thing in her head, which was super weird.
Too weird.
It was very weird. It took a moment to adjust to that image.
It was something that I've been asking myself. I've been asking myself, does she always have that? And then it's just have it always, because it's just weird. But for you, this reveal of Ahsoka the White, was it what you hoped for, or did at least meet some of those expectations?
I don't know that it was what I hoped for, but it's one of those things that felt more appropriate than I think what was in my head, because it was gradual. It wasn't like all at once. I think that might have been a little cheesy. And I know when people talk about like the Ahsoka the White outfit is basically the Ahsoka Gray outfit, just white, and I'm like. There are some differences, but yes, it's mostly the same. Mm-hmm. And it is a little bit of what you see in the Rebels animation, like the little bit that you can just see just kind of between. It's kind of what you can see there. And so it was really exciting. I hope we get to see her with the staff. Otherwise, that's a weird thing for her to never have.
Maybe it's like just a stick she finds in the other guy. It's like, oh, this is cool.
Really fun. I think this stick will probably be something to do with the alien civilization that we'll meet in the next episodes, because there's no way we're not meeting aliens in the next episode.
Mexican alien that they found the other day. We'll get to it at the end.
But like the fact that they also chose very specific atmosphere for her to be Ahsoka the White, it's in the clouds, the lighting is I think that was like it was this pure white lights, and it just really kind of solidifies like, this is Ahsoka the White. She's new, she's happy, she's smiling, she's lighter, she's not like tense, and people are like, oh, she's too stoic. I'm like, let the woman go on a journey. Let the woman go on her journey. Like, this is her journey. We're not at the end. You can bitch about it once we're at the end. We're not at the end. So she's gone on her journey, and I love that.
I want to come back to that point before we end, but Oti, before we get Ahsoka going into the clouds to talk to the Purgles, we have her I guess, psychometry that she learned from Quinlan Vos when she grabbed the star map and just listened to the echo of Ahsoka. I mean, of her. Sabine. Sorry. It's only three
Second
characters,
time
and
we've
I
seen
can't
her
get
do
them
this.
together.
I was terrified that they were gonna play like the whole audio of what happened. Like I was
Yeah,
like,
it
oh no,
was a
we
little
just
bit.
saw this. We just saw this episode. Yeah. Again, I never really like think about like, oh, that's Quinlan's boss's power. Like, how did she learn that? Like, I always see like the Force and the light side as connection, and just like with Jacen.
Yeah,
this is like what's happening here.
Mhm.
I didn't
And
mind
also, she needs to hear it just so the story can move
it,
on.
so it can move. Like, I didn't mind this. Like, it's a force power. We'll go with it. People that don't know everything about Quinlan Vos, I've never heard about this. No one in my house started asking, wait. We've never seen Ahsoka do that. And it makes sense. We know she's a very powerful Jedi, so I'm sure she
I
learned
think
it.
most
She
people
needed
would know this now as a Cal Kestis power and not a
Oh.
Quinlan Vos power.
to. All right. So, did you guys enjoy? This is one part. Like, let's just move. I don't need this. When Carson Teva is trying to stall the New Republic with, what are you doing here? Because I gotta make sure that General Syndulla finished their mission. So, you 3 Star Destroyers or big starships, get out of here because my 2 X-Wings are gonna stop you. I can do without that scene. But I know Carson's kind of that lighthearted character.
I love the scene with Carson like talking with the new Republic, because I love how the captain or general whatever was like, so like, come on Carson, like just come on board, let's get this over with. Like
same team.
And by the end she was like, dude, I'm gonna strip you of your ranks if you don't come on board.
Yeah, it was very quick. It escalated quickly, I guess. But I love when he said, okay, well, you're not going to believe me, whales, and they're going to take her to space.
that was actually like a brilliant edit where you cut like, you're not going to believe me, and we go back to like, so the whales are going to take them and their ships to another galaxy.
Yeah, that was fun. But what you were mentioning, Buck, and I love, is that Ahsoka now, after going through his journey, is more realized, kind of more into herself. Like, okay, I let that part of myself go. Now I can move on. I love when she's knocking on the door. Hey, just get in there. And then when Huyang goes, oh, so they're gonna lead us to where we need to go, where Ezra is. I don't know. I have no idea. But we're just going on this journey. I love that.
That's a very Anakin thing, by the way. We're just gonna wing it and see what happens.
Yeah.
It's the best. Like, again, it's that you have all the knowledge. Like, I am more than that because you are more than that, and that is, you are the good and the bad. All the lessons. Like, you can set aside the bad and be good, and you're like, yeah, let's trust the Force. It's gonna take care of us if we trust in it. Like, we gotta stay connected to the universe around us, and this is a moment of being connected to the universe around us. And clearly these Purrgil are connected to the Force in a way that we are not. And if there's ever a chance for us to complete our mission, it's these guys. And I love it. One thing I was thinking of when she's standing there and the whale is breathing on her, how bad must that smell? But she's still just like, it's like she's got that like angelic smile on her face, like it's the best moment ever. And I'm just like, that's gotta stink. That's how you know she's holy, because she's like, this stinks, but I don't care.
Yeah, I love when that giant Purrgil comes out. It's like 7 times bigger than the other ones. And Huyang, I think that's one of the bigger ones. Dude, it's obvious. You don't need to think too much. That's the big one. Go over there. Kind of weird that you had to go into their mouth doing the whole Moby Dick or Pinocchio thing. Had a lot of tentacles. Just wrap the ghost in a tentacle.
Penetrate the ship and like.
I love it this way, just because
I like it. It reminds. Yeah. I even think that we can have a bottle episode next episode.
Just inside the mouth.
And just seeing what's in there. Or maybe there's a house or something.
Yeah.
Maybe Barris is inside the.
Barris, finally, I found you.
We found you.
Oh man! So, any last thought on the episode before we talk?
I have a lot of thoughts on the episode that I haven't let out.
Well, let's go, and then we'll do a little speculate responsibly for episode 6.
Kevin freaking Kiner, my friend, you're insane. Like the score with in the theater, that must have been like crazy. Like that moment where the Purrgils are going up and you better move the ships. Like the music was just like completely out of control. Like I'm ready to see a movie with him scoring it, and I'm 1,000% sure he's gonna do Filoni's movie.
Yeah.
Something. This was weird. This episode was a lot. Like a lot happened. It was like it wasn't that long. It was longer than most, but it wasn't that
40
long.
minutes.
Yeah.
Almost 50.
This is the first time I've checked my watch, not to see like how I checked to see how much was left, not to see like, oh, is it almost over, but rather like, wait, we're still going. Like things are. I'm not kidding. At one point, I was like, oh, the episode must be almost over, and when I checked, it was like minute 19. So
when she looks, when Ahsoka looks up and sees the Purgles, it kind of has even this crescendo. Oh, we're still going.
Keeps going.
And
that was when I checked my watch. That's when I checked my watch, and I was like, oh, there's obviously more episode, but like, holy crap, there's like 8 more minutes.
Yeah,
still doing this. But I love the episode. It wasn't like a bad thing. I was just like shocked at how much they packed into it.
Yeah.
I do have a question from, it's not even this episode, it's from the last episode, is that when Baylan is talking to Sabine, he tells her, Sabine and Shin, he's like, it's right after Shin chokes her. He's like, I gave her my word, and unlike her former master, I shall keep mine. So what word did she not keep is what I'm curious about there. What did she go back on?
I think that probably has something to do with Siege of Mandalore. Okay. Or maybe it has to do with Ezra. Like maybe she was like, I'll train you and then we'll look for Ezra, and 5 years went by and nothing happened. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I just took out something that she gave up on her training. But hopefully we'll find out next week.
Yeah.
Dark side manipulation.
There's so much to look forward to. It's
so
Ezra and Thrawn and Sabine.
So one question: are we done with Hera for this season? Now she didn't go to this new galaxy. They're going unless they come back by the end of it. Are we done with Hera? I think we are. Unless there's something New Republic going on, of course. But I think we're kind of done.
I don't think we're done with her. I think we're gonna see her get stripped of being a general because I'm starting to think that these are the main characters of the movie, and I think it works better if she's not a general if we don't have like that advantage. But we'll see.
But also like showing the reason why it will be easy to take down the New Republic at any point, because the New Republic is just as corrupt as the Republic. and the Empire.
I will push back just a little bit because I love a scene in this episode when we talk with Mon Mothma, and she's like literally like, please Hera, just give me something. Something that I can use to help you. She's like, I have nothing. So like at the same time she is chasing ghosts. Like
I don't blame Mon Mothma. I don't blame Hera. I mean, Mon Mothma and anything in this episode. She couldn't. Like, did you find Baylan and Skull? Did you find anything about Thrawn? Did you find Hera? No. Well, come with Ahsoka. She can help you out. Well, she doesn't. Then sorry, I can't do anything.
That I did like that. Like, you come with. We're not going back. No. You're coming back because you're going to trial, and Ahsoka's coming because she's gonna defend you.
Dale wants to see the trial of Hera. They did an episode this season in Strange New World about a trial for the number 1, so we can see Hera's trial. There's your encapsulated episode. Episode 6, will we finally get Thrawn in episode 6?
I think so.
Will it be more than what we've seen in the trailer, just walking and turning around, or is that how the episode ends?
No,
I don't think we'll get too much. Maybe a little bit.
We'll see brooding and big words and thinking and.
All right, will he talk? Will he talk next week?
His only word is perhaps.
Perhaps. That's the answer. Perhaps I'll talk. I don't know.
I'm dying for a scene of Morgan being like, I got your messages, and he's like, what messages? Boom, Darksider appears.
Then the voicemail light is just popping red. Oh, I don't care. They just go straight to voicemail because I hate you.
By the way, I was telling Tony, like, I'm hoping we get long hair Thrawn like we did at the beginning of the novel. Guys that we've been stranded. Can we talk about the other galaxy? Because Alberto's talking like if it's just like a mirror of this galaxy. I kind of like to think like there's nothing there. Like it's just like amoeba, and
They got a mall. Ezra got a brand new outfit going on. I guess that's why Thrawn didn't cut his hair because there's not.
The star map was built by the aliens from the other galaxy, right? So they've been able to travel to this galaxy. So,
but what tells again? It's Star Wars, so it probably won't be this, but like that's like one species in a whole galaxy full of solar systems and planets and
yes,
moons.
I didn't, because I know that first planet when they find the star map, it's this Night Sister planet, right? At least the temple. So I kind of say, oh, yeah, that's Night Sister. I didn't even think about that star map was built by alien beings, which is weird to say in Star Wars because everyone's an alien.
Asks Morgan says that was built by the aliens from the other galaxy.
If we get the Cepho, I'm gonna lose my absolute shit, and that was my curse word for the day. I'm not expecting that to happen, but if that happens, I'm gonna be like, oh.
We have seen Zepho used in the concept art, but I think that's a placeholder and not what we're getting.
Is it the same thing? People thought it was the Cephos, right? In Bad Batch, that weird creature that Mecha Godzilla that they had. Is that the Cepho? And also, I never played Jedi Fallen Order, so I'm gonna be one of the ones that, hey, whatever is the Cephos, I don't care about it. But
yeah, I really don't think we're going to see Zepho. I don't really know how much Dave knows about those games.
I kind of like
he's unaware. I don't know how much he knows of it.
I kind of like the feeling of Filoni being like, someone made a weird force. Was it me? Let me see it. How can I make it weirder?
Yeah. So I know people are expecting, what is it, that Yuuzhan Vong to be out there? Whoever Thrawn fought in the other.
I'd hate
Not
that.
the Grisk. I would love Yuuzhan Vong to show up because I love the new Jedi Order, but I don't think the Vong are showing up. I know that there was concept that he had done for Clone Wars, but I don't see it happening. But as much as I would love it.
I don't think the Yuuzhan Vong can exist as they did in Legends. Like, I think we're not at that point where we can have like...
We have the Leveler from the High Republic. The Yuuzhan Vong can exist. I'm sorry. They're two sides of the same coin, and anybody who argues with me is wrong. I'm sorry.
But this is like part of a larger debate, but I completely disagree. I don't think the Leveler exists outside the Force like the Yuuzhan Vong. I'm not gonna get into this. We can talk about this as well.
The Vong are outside of the Force as a punishment from the Force, not because
because like you guys are crazy. But
that's not because
does that really work
outside of that.
Does that really work on what we know of canon Star Wars? Like, everyone exists in the Force. We are all connected. Like,
well, the Vong exist within the Force. It's just that they're not connected to the Force because of a punishment to theirs. Like, they reconnect to the Force.
That's still weird for Star Wars right now.
So that whole
the world between worlds and live action. And
we know that. Okay, it does matter. That wasn't the world between.
All right, so maybe they're just on their. The whole species is doing the Barash vow. They're disconnected themselves from the Force, and that's why it doesn't affect them. The whole species.
That was super weird. We're gonna introduce a Yuuzhan Vong, the Barash vow in the same episode.
Yeah,
that would be so awesome.
I know, Oti, you would hate it if we go into another veil. If we need to pass a veil to go to the alien.
Yeah, Planet X or Zanama Sakat, like none of that. We don't need none of
that. That'd be so weird. So weird. Tanalor, Exegol.
I was gonna say Exegol.
Planet X, like.
Yeah.
No more, please. Not for now.
Technically, Kessel.
Yep.
Yes, behind that.
I know it's different than it was in Legends, but it's almost the same. And no, we don't need that anymore.
The thing is, it's a cool concept, but like it's been used like way too often recently.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think that's a good place to end the episode today before we go too nuts into what's going out there. But I think so far 5 episodes in, Ahsoka has been I'm gonna say a surprise to myself, because at one point before it started I was going a little bit down on my enthusiasm, but I've enjoyed every episode, some more than other. But so far the story has been great, and now we're going to the unknown, right? Bail, Shin, Thrawn, this new galaxy, new aliens, everything now is gonna be new. So very excited for what's coming in the next 3 weeks, and then it's over. All right. Anything else, Buck, before we start saying goodbye?
I can't believe we're almost to the end of this journey. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Like we've got basically 2.5 weeks left on this journey since Tuesday is right around the corner. Like we'll
right
see
there.
episode 6 in just a couple days. Like this is like what? I have enjoyed this journey a lot so far. I really loved the first 2 episodes. I know some people thought it was slow. I thought it was paced just right to allow the people who don't know to catch up, and for those of us who are in the know to just kind of sit back and enjoy it. Like seeing Ahsoka, Rosario really come into her own, and Natasha come into her own, Mary come into her own, like as these characters. I don't think of them as different characters anymore. Like they're the same character, and I love that. Like that makes I've been enjoying this. I've just been happy. And I like being able to go to work and like talk about this, and everyone just be like, "Oh yeah, this is good," as opposed to going into work and be like, "I didn't really like the Book of Boba Fett or Obi-Wan Kenobi or Andor," and I'm like, "This is fun to like." People are like really enjoying it, and so that's fun.
Yeah, there seems to be consensus. I'll just say this because I think a lot of people will get it. I'm liking this show almost as much as I liked Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I'm open to liking it more. And to people who know me know what that means, so I'm liking it.
Yeah. All right. So with that, we'll start saying goodbyes. Buck, again, thanks for being here. It's always a pleasure to have you in the show, doing trivia, or when you're in the chat, even if you just come in when we have 2 minutes left. So thanks for being here. Where can people find you out there?
Currently, Highball2814 on Instagram and TikTok. I recently posted about my Lego build of the Lego Ghost, so that was fun. And then I guess I'll say this: I'm on Twitter at the By Republic since the Highball account got suspended.
Oh my goodness!
Apparently, having a right opinion about Nazis gets you suspended from Twitter, but okay. And then, of course, recently was on the Bombad cast a couple weeks ago to talk about Ahsoka. Was on Epic Confrontations with Mo.
Oh, yeah.
Mo and I are on a team.
I saw that.
I mean, I guess spoiler alert: we kick ass.
Oh, of course. There you go. I gotta watch it, and I've seen it every time it pops up on my YouTube. I gotta watch it.
Yeah. So, and that's where I've been. So.
All right. Well, thanks, Buck. We'll talk to you soon. Oti, any last words before we skedaddle out of here?
You can find me over at Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at whatever it says down there.
Don't go to Threads. Go to Blue Sky and find us there because we need people. If
Blue Sky is so fun, why do you keep asking people to come? Why haven't people organically gotten there?
Dude, there. I got 3 codes.
Bye!
All right. See you guys next time. First, before thanks to Dale, Mo, Brennan, Tony, who else showed up? Everyone else that showed up. As always, your great comments out there. Dynamic duo. So thanks to everyone for being here. We'll see you next week when we talk about Ahsoka episode 6. I'm going to say, hopefully I'm not late. Maybe I have to push it for about 5 minutes, but not more than that. We'll see. Stay safe. Be safe. And dude, is that from my script? See you next week.
They should do a show about the Clone Wars.